So good afternoon, everybody. This is Yoel Kortick, Senior Librarian at Ex Libris. It is February 2nd, 2021, and we're here today to discuss centrally managing configurations and entities in a network zone consortia. And I'm going to begin by explaining exactly what we're doing here. I tried to make it as clear as possible also in the invitation, that only the relevant people would join. If somebody is not part of a network zone consortia, it's really not a relevant session. So let's begin by stating exactly what we plan on doing during this session. So first of all, we're discussing a situation such as this. What we see on the screen now, where we have one network zone institution, and then we have several, it could be 2, it could be 200 member institutions, as we have here. The names of these member institutions are the institutions in my demo environment that I'm showing today. And configurations and entities are handled in the network zone and distributed to the member institutions. That's what we're going to be discussing. And in order to make that even clearer now, I'm going to go into one of each examples. So first, I'm going to go into a member institution of a network zone consortia to show what we've got there. And then I'm going to go into a standalone institution. A standalone institution is not part of a consortia. We'll see the difference between the two of them, and then you'll know if this is the relevant session for you. And again, we tried to be as clear as possible in the invitation, but let's check it anyway. So if I'm in a member institution, a member of a network zone, something similar to here. In fact, I'm in right now Alma University. This is Alma University, as you see in the icon on the right. And you can see here we have an option to search in the institution, an option to search in the network, and an option to search in the community. Same thing here. We can search in the institution, the network, or the community. On the other hand, if I go into a standard standalone institution, not an institution that is part of a network zone consortia, and if from in here we also do a search, let's do the same search even, Taiwan, here we do not have an option to search in the network zone because there is no network zone. I'm just part of a standalone institution. There's just institution and community, and that's different than here, where I have institution, network, and community. Before we go any further, I want to see if there's any questions or comments on that, just so everybody is aware of what kind of environment we're going to be discussing today. Does anybody have a question or comment on that? Everybody is clear what kind of environment we're going to be discussing now. Okay, I see no questions coming in through the chat. I will assume all is clear. Thank you. Okay, now, first of all, the documentation that we're going to be looking at, very briefly, we're going to be looking at the presentation. I'm going to send everybody now the link. I'm going to send that out in the chat so everybody has a link to the presentation on this topic. There you go. Those of you watching this on YouTube, we're here under Alma Training, Extended Training, Presentations and Documents Consortia. First presentation on the screen is centrally managing configurations and entities in a network zone consortia, and that is this presentation here. And we're going to show a few of these examples. These are all of the different examples in the presentation. However, we're not going to, of course, show all of them. There's 93 slides here, and we're also not going to show them using the slides. We're going to do it all live, but let's just look at slides 5 to 8 just to see why are we doing this even. So if we handle configurations and entities, and we'll talk about what is that, in the network zone, we can distribute them to the members, and that saves or is beneficial in two ways. We can have standardization among all of the members. For example, user group, job list, job category of the users is one example. If we want to make sure all members have the same list, then we can say it's handled in the network and distribute it to everybody. That would be an example of a configuration. It's also possible to share entities, for example, a vendor or a resource sharing partner or a license, or users even can be shared. So those are entities, and same thing there. It saves a lot of time because every institution doesn't need to start doing separate creation of these entities and separate handling of the configuration tables. So that's the whole purpose of it. It saves time and it makes things uniform. As far as the configurations go, it's possible in some cases to share an entire table, and we're going to take a look at that. And it's also possible to share just part of a table or a row in a table. And we're going to be taking a look at that as well. We'll be using the search indexes table as an example of sharing just part of a table. And I think that's enough now for the PowerPoint. And we'll get right down to business and do some real Alma. So let's move on. So what I'm going to do is open up two browsers here. And in this browser, let me get out of this one. In this browser, I'm going to have the network zone. So I'm in my consortia with Alma University, Open University, University of Knowledge, and I'm going into the network zone, and I'll log in there. Then in a different browser, which will be Chrome, or Chrome as they say around here, we're going to go into the member called Alma University. So now I'm in the member institution in Chrome, and I'm in the network zone here in Alma, in Firefox. And then when I make a change here in the network zone, we'll simply be able to switch over to Chrome and see if and how we see the change in Alma. So let's begin with a job called Distribute Network Acquisition Changes to Members. So let's say, for example, that I have a vendor. And then after I have the vendor, I'm going to run this job, Distribute Acquisition Network Configuration. So what we're looking at now first is shared vendors. So let's go into the vendors. I'm just going to check the chat one more time, make sure no one's asking any questions. And then we'll go on. Okay, I don't see anything there. So I see a lot of old faces are joining us here. Thanks everybody for joining us. A lot of old faces still around. Okay, so let's begin. So let's add a vendor here. I'm in the network zone. Everybody sees the icon here, top left. I'm in my network zone. I'll add a vendor. Let's call this the Raquel L. Limited vendor. Okay, the Raquel L. Limited vendor. And we'll give that RLV will be the code. And that's enough. Okay, let's give it a 1, 2, 3 in the system there. And that should be enough. We'll make it a material supplier. We'll make it an access provider, and we'll even make it a licensor, and we'll even add an account. Account description, this will be the Raquel L Limited Vendor main account. And here, we'll give it an account code RLV. And we'll say he can pay all of these different ways. And that's enough. So we have added a vendor. And save. Now, we already gave this session this morning, and after I added a vendor, someone said, well, why didn't you do a license? So let's also do a license. So I'm going to go to the licenses and add a license. So we'll click here, add license manually. And this will be the NFL license. And you probably think I mean the National Football League. But that's not the case. It's the NOAM F license. So now we have a license. The code will be NFL. We'll make that active. We'll make it a real license. This will be assigned by Alicia. And that should be enough for our specific example here. Save. Okay. So now we've added a license and we've added a vendor. Now we have a job here. I'm not going to run it just yet because I want to point something out. We have a job here called Distribute Acquisition Network Configuration. If I click that here, it will run, but I don't need to click it there every time I make some kind of a change in the network. Because if we go to admin and monitor jobs, we can see here, let's go to scheduled and let's go to acquisitions. We can see that this job is scheduled to run every evening. So acquisition and distribute network acquisition. So it's already planned to run every day at 8 o'clock. So if I set at night, I made a mistake, it's set to run every morning. But we don't want to all hang around together here till 8 a.m. tomorrow. So let's run it manually. So we'll run it here, acquisitions, advanced tools, distribute acquisition network configurations. There we are. Do I want to run the job? Yes, I do. And now the job is running. Now, before it finishes, I actually should have checked in advance so you'd know I'm not trying to pull one over on you. If we go into licenses and look for NFL, if the job didn't finish yet, we won't find it. Great, we didn't find it yet. And if we go to vendors and we look for, what was it called? The Raquel, I think I copied it actually. The Raquel, yes, I did, great. The Raquel L Limited Vendor. Okay, so that already, the job already finished. So now I see it here in the member institution. I know that this one is from the network because it has the checkbox on the shared, which reminds me of something else I'd like to point out on the license. And if we edit this vendor, we're going to see here that this is all grayed out. And the reason this is grayed out is because it's handled in the network. And I can come along and add in my member, I'm in Alma University now. So I can say, well, in Alma University, we're going to have a general account called Gen, and they take cash, credit card deposits, and bank transfers. And their expected receipt after ordering is 10, save. Actually, I was supposed to, there we go. So now I've made some kind of a change to the vendor. This is grayed out. However, we added probably about 2 years ago already, the option here that depending on the roles, a user can click Edit Global Attributes from within Alma University, from within the member, and it says, I'm going to edit the global attributes of a shared member. This change will be contributed to the vendor's record in the network zone. So this is going to change everything about the vendor. What was happening was people were needing to tell, we have a lot of network zones, by the way. In fact, I would say without a scientific study, the majority of new ones moving in the last year or so are part of a network zone. So people said, well, wait a minute, every time that I want to change, I got to go tell someone in the network zone, and then they got to do it and distribute it. So we made it so that even a member can change what's in the network. Same thing with the licenses. So maybe this is actually, maybe there's the financial code is not 123, it's 123789. Save. So that now changes it in the network, and we're going to see that in a moment. But let's go back to the licenses. And if we don't find the license NFL, there is a good reason for it. Let's go take a look at what's going on here. I'm going back to the network now. So first of all, let's go look at that license. And that's the NFL license. Just looking at this, who can tell me why it wasn't shared via the job? Let's take a look here. I'm looking in the chat. Who wants to send in an answer? Ah, that's it. Yep, our colleague Tom. He said, I didn't fill in the shared checkbox. Thanks, Tom. So I'm going to fill in the shared license here. Now I can also say not only that I want this shared, but which parts. Do I want the summary? Do I want the license terms, this tab here? Do I want the notes, this tab here? Do I want the attachments? So I can even say, what do I want shared? So we're going to run the job again now that I checked that. Let's run the job. Acquisitions and distribute. Great. And while that's working, let's go see what happened to our Raquel L. vendor. Vendors and Raquel L. Vendor Limited. And we see here that the 123 changed to 123789 because we changed it when we did the change to edit global attributes in the member. And now let's go back here again search for NFL, and there she is. So now we also have the NFL license in the network. And let's view it. I've got the summary and I've got the license terms from the member. And when we ran this in the network, let's go take a look in the network. The job ran, and the job ran for us twice. Let's go monitor jobs. And let's go to the history. Here's when the job ran twice. So the first time it ran, it copied that vendor to each of the 3 member institutions. And as far as licenses went, there were 9 shared licenses which were sent. Of course, not one of ours. And the second time it ran, it sent the vendor and 10 this time. Previously, there were 9 licenses. Now there's 10 licenses because we added that NFL license. The vendor was sent again the second time because the vendor changed. If you recall, we changed it from the member. So it ran again this time and got distributed to all of the institutions. In fact, just for the fun, let's go to Open University. I'm going to have to do a new private because I only have, actually, yeah, I'll do a new private one. Let me see if I remember how to do an incognito window. So in this incognito window, I'm going to go to another member. Here I'll go to Open University. And let's log in. I think Alicia's a user here as well. Alicia's a user pretty much everywhere. And let's see now if we go take a look at the vendor Raquel L Limited, we should see the final change we made, the 123789 financial code that we changed from a different member. It went back to the network and got redistributed. Let's go to that vendor. Let's get the Raquel Limited vendor. Let's open her up. And there we go. The 123789, that was changed in Alma University when someone there did edit global attributes. It was saved in the network, and then it was redistributed the second time I ran the job. Okay, I'm going to close this one just so we don't get confused anymore. And I'm going to stop for a moment. I'm going to go to the chat, see if there's any questions or comments, and see what's going on. Let me take a look here. Anybody have any questions or comments? It looks like there are no questions or comments. So let me just go through here a minute and see. Okay, I don't see any questions. Just give a quick chat saying you hear me all right, please. Just so I know people are still with us. Just chat, yes, we're still with you. Okay, thanks. So let's go on to our second example now. I see Josh is with us. Hi, Josh, thanks for joining. Okay, let's see what's going on now with our second one. So that was acquisition changes. Let's just make sure we didn't miss anything here. Acquisition changes. So what did we do? We saw that the job can be run from the advanced tools. Oh, there is something I didn't show, actually. It's really not something anybody needs to change, but it's interesting. There's a parameter every time that job runs. A parameter under acquisitions, configuration. Acquisitions, general other settings. Every time the job runs, there's a parameter that gets updated. This parameter here, acquisition distribute changes last run, and I ran it at 2021 is the year, February 2nd, and this is the time in UTC, I believe. Well, we can find out actually. 14, yeah, because that's 2 hours behind. Yeah, that should be the UTC. In any case, it's a timestamp. So that next time I run the job, Alma knows behind the scenes, do any change since that timestamp. There's really no need to ever touch it, but interesting to know that it's there. And with that, we can say confidently that we changed everything, that we did everything. Here they had a vendor, it went and it got shared. Okay, so now we're going on to something similar, but instead of being for acquisitions, it's for fulfillment. And the job is there. Let's go take a look. And let's just start doing an example. So now let's do a terms of use. This job distributes terms of use and fulfillment units. And let's make a terms of use. So I'm going to go to fulfillment. I'm already in configuration. And we'll go to terms of use. And let's go to the loans. And let's see what we got here. Let's make a brand new one. So we'll make the terms of use. Then we're going to run the job. And then we're going to see that terms of use get moved to other parts, to the other member institutions. That's the plan. So let's begin. We'll say add a terms of use. We'll make it type loan. And let's call this, we'll call this terms of use, no recall. TOU, no recall. And I'll make this for loanable, but no recall. And for our purposes, that's enough. And I'll give it a description. Okay. Loanable is not a word. Well, according to Microsoft, it's not a word. But we know it's a word. Next. Next, save. Okay, so now we have a terms of use. And it's called loanable with no recall. If I come to Alma now, to Alma University, to the member, and I go here to fulfillment, terms of use and policies, and here I look for something with the words no recall. Was that a movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger? That was Total Recall, I believe. This is no recall. Loanable with no recall, Alma University. So let me make a different example. There's only so many examples I can make up over the years. I'll call it something completely unique. We'll call this we called ours loan no recall. Okay, so ours actually isn't there. We have one there called loan no wait a minute. Let's get something straight. This is called loanable with no recall. Oh, that's not ours. That's not the one we just made. Because the one we made is called, oops, sorry about that. It's called loan no recall. Loan no recall. And you know what? Let's go back here and make sure. Cancel. Loan no recall. There it is. Loan no recall. Nope, that's ours. Let's make a brand new one. Sorry about that. You know, over the years, I keep making more and more examples, but we'll make it something really unique. We'll just call it really unique. And we'll make it for loanable, and we'll make it recall allowed. I should have called it total recall. Let's do that. Good idea. Total recall. Okay, next. Next. Okay, so now we should have one here called total recall. There we go. Total recall. Now let's run that job. So we'll go to the regular menu, the Alma menu. Fulfillment, distribute. Fulfillment network configuration. Am I sure I want to run the job? Yes, I'm sure. And there she goes. Now she's running. Let's go take a look. Admin, monitor jobs. Now, by the way, this job also is scheduled to run once a day, either every night, every morning, something. Let's go into fulfillment just to take a look at that. And distribute, here we are, distribute network fulfillment changes to members. So it's scheduled to run. When is it scheduled to run, by the way? Also every morning at 8 o'clock. Let's go over to the history. Here's the job ran. Let's go take a look at it. Terms of use, 2 of them, right. The first one I did and the second one I did. So 2 terms of use were distributed to the members. And we also could have done all kinds of other things. These are all of the other entities that can be distributed. So if we come in now to the member and look for total recall, terms of use, let's do it this way. Oh, name. You see that? That was a prime example. There's no Alma errors. There are human errors. The human error was I searched by description. There are no Alma errors. There are only human errors. So this came from the network. And let's do a view. That's the one we did. Loanable recall is possible. So we have now in the member institution a terms of use that was created in the network and then distributed here. And by the way, when we look at this, we'll see total recall. Let's go to total recall. QRST, that'll be on the next page. There we go, number 64, total recall. And we can see here that it has TOU owner in the TOU owner column, network. Okay, let's see if there's any questions or comments. Anything from anybody? I don't think there's any questions from anybody. Just see some we can hear you, smiley face, and should have called it total recall. Okay, so let's move on. I trust that here we covered everything. We saw that you can run the job there. We saw that the job is also scheduled. This one also has a parameter with the last date that the job ran. When we go into the configuration and the fulfillment and the other settings, we have here, similar to the other job, distribute fulfillment changes last run, and it was updated right now because we just ran it. So all is well with that, and let's go on. So the next one we'll do, where are we here? Okay, now we're going to distribute table changes. Until now, both of what we did was a distribution of an entity, a vendor, and a terms of use. We can also do a resource sharing partner if we want, but I think we get the point. So now let's do something with a configuration table. And that uses a job called Manage Table and Network. We'll see about that in a moment. And we'll show an example with the job categories. So let's say I want in all of my member institutions throughout the entire consortia, I want to have everybody with the same job categories table. Now, when I say job categories, we can also do it by user group, but let's go into the job categories. Let's take our user and user details. So, sorry about that. This is the job category. Now, we may want to have, for various reasons, the same exact list for all member institutions. And one of the benefits of that, for example, is when you use a fulfillment network and a patron gets created in the different institutions on the fly, what we call a walk-in patron. We won't get into the details of a fulfillment network and the various colors it can have, the different nuances. But there may be a case to want the same list in all of the institutions. So let's go to configuration. I'm in the network, configuration. Then we'll go to users, user management, excuse me. And then we'll go to job categories. So here I am in job categories. And let's say I want the description of cataloging and acquisitions operator to be, now let's leave that. Let's add a new one. Does anyone have a suggestion what kind of job category we want to add here? Send in a chat if you do. If not, I'll just make one up. Add row. And let's call this PCA. This will be Professor N's assistant. Now, I don't want to put in here, you know what I'll do is I'll say, because I don't want to put an apostrophe in here. You never know what's going to happen if I put an apostrophe in here. So we'll say assistant of Professor Hen instead of saying Professor Hen's assistant. Okay, we won't make that the default. We'll add a row. Let's make sure that's okay, that's saved. Now, it says here stop. Let me save this. I want to show something, and I'm going to come back. It says on top right now, stop network management. The reason it says stop network management is because at a different stage, I said manage in the network. I'm going to stop it just so you can see. Now, when I open it, I have manage table and network. So this is an example where the whole table, not just a row, the whole table will be handled in the network. I'm going to say manage table and network. I already added the APC. Then I'll say save and distribute, but I don't need every time to do stop and start. The only reason I did stop and start is because I wanted everybody to see what it was. Now we'll save and distribute, and two options. If the member institution already customized that table, then it may be that I don't want to override it. In that case, I would choose the first option, do not override member institution customization. But if I say, no, I want everybody to have the same table, I don't care if they already did something to it, override everybody, confirm. Job was distributed, it was submitted. So let's go take a look at what they're talking about here with the job. Let's go back to the Alma configuration. And let's go to admin, monitor jobs, history. Here she is, the first one. And look at the report. Job details. Processed member institution. Table was updated in all three of these institutions. Let's go take a look at one of those. Everything's working beautifully today. You have to admit, everything is working. Nothing's, oh, I forgot to do this, forgot to do this. Everything's perfect. So let's go take a look here. We'll go look at the tables. So we'll say user management, job categories. And here's the APC. And you can see here, I don't have any options here to add a row. Oh, I do. I can add a row. So here, the APC is here, and all of these are from the network. Let's add a row just to see what's going to happen here. Add a row, and let's call this other. Okay, so I can add, and you see here, it was updated by the user I'm logged in as now, whereas all of the others were added by the network. So we have successfully distributed an entire table from the network zone to the members. Let's see if there's any questions there. Still no questions. I'm always concerned when there's no questions. But I guess it's just clear enough and that there's no need to do anything else. Okay, everybody understands. I'm just checking here, scrolling up. Nope, no questions, no comments. Wonderful. Okay, next. Now let's take a situation where we can do the change on the row level. Row, not ROW row. And the other one, they thought I said raw, like meat that's not cooked, but row level. So let's move on. You can read the PowerPoint about the others. Row level, I think it's all the way at the end. Let's go take a look there. Okay. That's the table. Here we go, row. So I'm going to use a example from, I can use the example here. Let's use the search indexes. And let's see what's going to happen here. So I'm in the network, and I'm in the configuration, and I'll say resources, search indexes. So I'm going to take this search indexes table and make a little change somewhere. Let's say, for example, that I want the additional physical form available note to not appear, or let's say to appear in both of them. I'll make this true and I'll make this true. So first, I'm going to say customize. Right now, all I have is customize. But after I have customize here, now I also have manage a network. So let's say we want both of these to be true. And I want to manage that in the network. So now this one here is managed in the network. You can see anything that's managed in the network has that. Now I'm going to save and distribute. I'm going to override. If the member already did something with additional physical, whatever that was, then I could say do not override, but I'm going to override. Boom. So now that's running. And let's go see what's happening. So first of all, let's take a look at the job. And admin, monitor jobs, history. Here it is, distribute network, okay. Report, customized rows, there we go. One customized row was distributed to all 3 institutions. Let's go take a look here. And let's pop over to configuration and resources and search indexes. And now we see that the additional physical form available note is true for both of them and is handled in the network. You see the checkbox here, handled in the network. So we were able to change, in this case, just one row. And when we did it with the jobs configuration, the job categories, there we did the entire table. Let's see if there's any questions or comments on that. I'm going over to the chat, scrolling down to the bottom, and I don't see any questions again. Okay, so like I said, we're not going to be going through everything in this presentation, but let's go through another one, which is the resource sharing configurations. Somewhere in here among these, but everybody is encouraged to look at this on your own. So there's another one, distribute network resource sharing, it should be. There it is. Distribute central resource sharing configuration. So let's say all or the majority of my institutions are using the same partners, which is often the case. So let's go take a look at what we can do here. Let's go to fulfillment, resource sharing partners. I'm going to add a partner. I'll call this the YTP. This is the OCT partner. And I'll make it the RT mail, okay. System type, average supply time. Now I got to fill in a few things here just so that I can legally save this. Otherwise, he won't let me save it. Okay, add that and close. Then I need to do a parameter. I have to have at least one service code, and I need to have this. Okay, great. That should let me save it now. Oh, I got to add a customer ID as well. Add and close. Okay, save. Wonderful. So now I should have here the YTP. There she is. Now, inside the member, let's go also to the partners. I don't see anything starting with Y. I did it backwards by name. And same thing here. If I say YTP, nothing. So in the network, we're going to run the job. That was just to show that the job is going to be what's adding it. We'll say fulfillment, advanced tools, distribute, resource sharing, network configuration. Yes, I'm sure I want to run the job. Admin monitor jobs. She's already done. There she is. Let's take a look. Report. Partners. There we go. One partner was distributed to all three of these member institutions. And let's go back here now. We're going to do the same search. And now we do find it because it was distributed from the network. And it has the checkbox here that it's shared. Okay, any questions or comments? No questions or comments from anybody? So with that note, we'll end here because we've covered everything. I left in time for the usual multiple questions that we receive each time. But it's not mandatory that we ask questions. So thanks everybody for joining us. We look forward to seeing you in our next sessions. By the way, very shortly, we're going to be planning a new series on authorities. New webinar series on authorities, so stay tuned for more information. This will be, the recording of this will be posted on our knowledge sharing webinars page, and we'll be sending an email to the Alma list when that happens, which will probably be either later today or tomorrow. Have a nice day and take care. Bye-bye.